Hey everyone, I have something to share with you today. My grandfather, who I called Pawpaw, passed away a few days ago, and it's extremely sad that he's no longer here with us on earth, but he made a decision to trust in Jesus as his Lord many years ago. So right now he's up dancing and praising God, which is incredible. But my grandfather, he did a lot of amazing things. He grew up pretty poor, and you wouldn't think that coming from the family and the situation that he came from, that he would make a lot of his life, but he did. He served many years in our U.S. Army, and he was married to an incredible woman. They had multiple kids and then he had multiple grandkids, and he has multiple great-grandkids, and he lived a fantastic life, even though where he started from, it didn't seem like that would be the case. But my grandfather came to know Jesus at a young age, and he was a huge impact on my life. And when I graduated college many years ago, he wrote me this letter. It's pretty small. My wife actually had it framed, and it sits on my desk where I work every day. And the letter's really good, but at the end of the letter, he says something. He said, "Remember the saying, the difficult we do immediately, the impossible takes a little longer." You see, he had difficult things in his life, and he overcame them. And some things that may have seemed impossible for him, he overcame. But what I loved about my pawpaw is that he understood what gave him the ability to overcome the difficult and the impossible in his life didn't come from himself. It came from Jesus Christ, who he had in him. And that reminds me of a passage in Philippians chapter 4. And Paul is finishing up this letter to the church at Philippi. And he says, starting in verse 10, the following. He says, "I rejoiced in the Lord greatly that now at length you have revived your concern for me. You were indeed concerned for me, but you had no opportunity. Not that I am speaking of being in need, for I, Paul, have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me." See, I feel like my grandfather understood that he could do anything through Christ who strengthened him. And I just love that testimony, and it's taught me so much. And this passage in my pawpaw's life reminds me that, I'm going to face some trials in my life. I'm going to face difficulties in my life, and some things may look pretty impossible to get through. But I have Jesus Christ, and there is nothing too impossible for him. So I hope that this testimony that I shared and also this passage encourages you to dive deeper in the scripture and hear what God has for you today.